It's for good luck.
We begin episode 7 with Dina got shot in the leg with an arrow, getting it painfully taken out of her leg. He offers her a drink, just chill, and she says, no thanks. And Jesse was already suspecting that maybe she was pregnant, and here he basically confirms it. They also did it the right way. According to the right way to take out an arrow, you don't pull it out, you push it through. I really felt like they stretched out this season more than they needed to, even with the 7 episodes, but I'm going to talk more about that in the conclusion. So then the rest of this episode, Dina is just out where Ellie is sitting on the bed and her shirt's off, and Dina's behind her, just kind of straddling her. But then Ellie tells her the full story of Joel going into the Seattle hospital and killing everyone and just to save her. And at that moment, Dina starts going cold on her, and I don't really follow. Perhaps she's finally just weighing in the fact that perhaps they could have found a cure if Joel hadn't done that. But it's still a moment where I'm just a little bit confused as to why, as Dina kind of went a little cold on her, she just had this look on her face, and then she just goes, let's just go back to Jackson, even though she was pretty determined, as Ellie was before, to do this. But now she's just like, nah, let's just go back. But Ellie can't do that. And in a way, it's still showing her selfishness towards she just wants revenge. She doesn't care if she's going to, quote unquote, abandon Dina. Though at the end of this episode, Dina is still incapacitated upstairs. The way the episode ends, which we'll get to, Dina is somewhere in the theater. So is she upstairs this whole time? It could be how Abby doesn't shoot Ellie when she has her point blank. It's either Tommy grabbing her from keys on the ground, or Dina somehow shows up. I mean, I'm sure she's hearing the commotion from wherever she is, but she's upstairs in the change room. Or kind of odd moment. It's like supposed to be kind of romantic in a way of the girl is helping clean up the guy and clean their wounds. I'm just going to say that Ellie is the guy and Dina is the girl. But at the same time, it's pretty much close to how it happened in the games. And it doesn't seem to work here on camera for some reason. Ellie finally realizes what wheel and whale means, which is something Dina told her a few episodes earlier, when she sees the aquarium and sees a Ferris wheel and then a whale on the side, and realizes, okay, that's where Abby is holding out with her crew. There was a moment when Jesse and Ellie were out on their patrol, and they essentially decided to part ways, but Ellie and Jesse having an argument, and the way Bellaramsey is acting at that one moment, it was like the worst acting I've seen from her in this entire show. She just seemed really kind of childish and petulant at that one moment, and her pure selfishness was coming through again, where Jesse was just like the community, and Ellie just blurts it out, fuck the community, which is showing her selfishness again of she just wants this revenge, regardless of what happens. Jesse and Ellie weren't separating. Jesse was going on to find Tommy, which is where they were all supposed to be doing. So Tommy and Jesse meet up later. So we have another strange addition that wasn't in the games, where when Ellie goes off to the aquarium, she does it on a boat, and the ocean was very angry at that time. So she's taking this boat out towards the aquarium, but suddenly it capsizes and she ends up is another part of the shore, or she almost seemed like a separate island. Suddenly she's on this island or area, and the Seraphites are just there, and they grab her and then they hang her up. They're about to gut her, and then suddenly they get a signal that they're being attacked by the wolves. So it's this really bizarre moment, because it took all of 5 minutes. I could have been taken out. I'm still thinking about the purpose of her. If maybe they just wanted Ellie to actually see the Seraphites in person once. But it was an odd moment where she's hung up and she's about to be cut open with a sickle, and then somebody signals that they're being attacked, and then that's it. It was just such a strange moment of a little aside that didn't really need to happen, because then she just gets back on the boat and goes on her way to the aquarium. Then at the aquarium, she comes upon Owen and Mel having a conversation, and they're kind of at odds, because Mel was always at odds with this whole revenge plan, and pretty much the whole situation, even though she still went along with it. But we're seeing them again talking about Abby, not really agreeing with what it is she wants to do. Ellie comes upon him with a gun, and Stupidly and predictably, Owen goes for the gun, and then Ellie shoots him, but almost more out of fright, where she was holding the gun on him. She wasn't exactly stable. She was just hung up from a noose just like half an hour ago. But she shoots Owen straight through the eye and then actually nicks Mel in the neck, so she starts bleeding out. And then another bizarre moment where Mel, who's pregnant, is immediately like to Ellie, cut me open, take out my baby. And it's just a bizarre moment where Ellie just can't do it. She can't bring herself to cut this baby out of this woman who dies before she even has a chance to start doing it. Who knows what the science is behind, like how long a baby can survive when the parent dies? I don't know if it's immediately or not, but Ellie just can't do it and she breaks down crying. I don't really know why they needed to put more emotional pressure on her after what she just went through, what she's been going through. And now here she suddenly killed these two people, and part of me thinks she didn't really mean to kill either of them at all. She just wanted to find out where Abby was and go on her way. She didn't want to kill Owen or Mel. But then Tommy and Jesse show up. Then they're back at the theater again. Young Mazzino, who was criminally underutilized. Unfortunately, later on, he gets shot. That was one of those things from the games that I forgot happened, and I was like, oh man, we really like Jesse, and I was really hoping to see more from him because he wasn't around that much until now. This was the episode where you kind of see him the most. It was almost like not long after he figures that out that Dina's pregnant, and he's already started to change. He's already starting to kind of change how he's doing things because he's going to be a dad. But boom, just like that, he's gone. So how long will in season 3 Dina go to find that out? Will we see anything about that at all until later on in the season? Another example of just how it's almost like these people can't decide where they are. Because one second, Ellie is essentially being selfish to just go off and do her revenge on her own. And another minute, Jesse and Ellie are hiding from these wolves who are attacking a Seraphite, and Ellie wants to go out and save them. So it's this bizarre moment of one second you just want to go off by yourself, and the other second you're like, I'm gonna go save this random person. And it is a really stupid moment on her part. Jesse kind of talks her out of it. Jesse being the more common sense, mature one, which was a thing that wasn't as much which is a thing they did change again from the games, is make him kind of way more responsible and grown up. We have Isaac, who we're going to see more of next season for sure, because Isaac is Abby's mentor. But Isaac seems to have this almost cultish view of Abby, as if she's the only one that can fix anything. And there's a moment where she's already gone, but the wolves are at their base. And she's kind of wondering where she is. He has this attitude of kind of like he doesn't really care about anything unless he knows where Abby is and she's safe. The same relationship he has with Abby is what Joel has with Ellie. So their whole story marries each other. And from either angle, you can see how each side deserves a revenge. But when you really look at it, it's almost like Abby is the one who really deserves her revenge. So that's the last we see of Isaac for this season. In an earlier episode, episode 4, there's a moment with Isaac where he's torturing a Seraphite, which is also new. And he definitely has a very strong hate towards the Seraphites, which is something that we're probably going to learn more about. We also meet Isaac earlier on from an earlier stage in his life where he used to be part of Fedra, finally kind of working things out and coming to a truce. And then just like that, Abby is outside, Jesse runs out and Ellie, and boom, just like that, he's gone. And it's such a cold moment in a way. It goes like 1 second, Jesse having this moment where they're kind of reconciling, and then just like that, bang, he's dead. And it's such a cold moment just when you think about how quickly he was just gone. Like in the head, gone. And I forgot about that, like I said, from the game. So when that happened, I was like, shit, young Mazzino deserved more time. The only other thing I saw him in was beef, and I liked him in that. It's unfortunate that we won't get to see more of him. Perhaps there'll be some flashbacks in the next season. I'm thinking there could be at least one Ellie episode where maybe we see where she is at that exact moment, or it'll be a purely flashback. Will there be some kind of crossover between Ellie and Abby so we get to the final showdown, which we won't see the result of until later. But Abby has Tommy pinned down on the floor, and Ellie has become another blubbering mess, as she was still kind of definitely very emotional after what happened with Mel and Owen. And then she just watched Jesse die. She does become kind of a blubbering mess this whole time of wanting revenge against this girl, and now she's face to face with her, and she's kind of just breaking down and being like, please don't shoot me. And then the moment where Abby shoots her, and we don't know if she killed her or not. Obviously, she doesn't, but how will that play out next season? Will either Dina or Tommy somehow come up behind her and stop it just before it happens? I mean, Tommy is right there on the floor, and Abby just kind of has her foot on him. And I'm pretty sure Tommy is bigger than her. I'm sure he could maybe push her off or grab her leg. I mean, she's right there. I'm pretty sure her foot's on top of him, so he could just grab her leg and yank her away. But then we cut over to Abby, and that's the moment where the show is transitioning over to her story. She's inside the baseball theater. We see her for like a second, and then the show ends. And it's an interesting way to end the season. I think about all the people who don't know how the games work, and they're thinking, okay, we're seeing Abby at the end. They're leaving us on a cliffhanger. That's pretty standard TV show stuff. In 2 years, they're going to be all about, it's going to be Abby, and people are going to be confused. I was like, okay, what is going on here? Are we seriously just going to have Abby for the rest of the season? I could see a lot of people being pissed about that, just like they were in the games, where when you switch over to Abby in the games, a lot of people were outraged by that. I thought it was brilliant. I loved it. Next season, when it begins, and it could all be an Abby episode immediately, I have a feeling that structurally season 3 will be very similar to this season. Maybe it'll have 7 episodes that almost follows the exact same structure in terms of everything just from Abby's story side. We'll have a like 85% Abby, and then the rest will be Ellie. But it remains to be seen. We still have like 2 years to find out. 2027 is when I'm assuming the next season will come out. We don't know. It's time to get on from the review of the episodes and get into my conclusion.
You're gonna lose.
My final thoughts on this season was that it started out strong, but definitely tapered off near the middle and got pretty bad. Episode 5 was really dreadful. And then it slightly went up again, though 6 was all of a flashback that we didn't need to see. We could have only seen half of that, moved it around, and had it part of another episode. I'm actually disappointed with this season. I mean, I was obviously looking forward to it, and even as someone who isn't the biggest Last of Us fan, I just love that the show came out and it really changed people's perspective on the game adaptation genre. This season was almost kind of a step back, especially the length. I really just hated the fact that there has 7 episodes. I'm just very anti odd numbers. It's the weird thing about me and my anal retentiveness, but why couldn't it have been 6? Why couldn't it have been 8? Considering how much filler they had, it could have easily been 6. Maybe there's some type of rule that you can't have a 6 episode season. This isn't the BBC. So they went with 7, and at the same time, 1.5 episodes was pretty much throwaway. Just about 2 episodes worth were almost throwaway. If they just went strictly with keeping the story going and having just the best line and the best acting, they would have ended on episode 5. But episode 2 was the overall highlight of the entire season, and it was the episode where I was thinking this season could actually be better than season 1, but no. I disagree with more of the changes they made than season 1. They didn't even change a whole lot in season 1, really. What they did wasn't enough for me to have an issue with it, but they made some changes here that I had an issue with. I think they went too far with the Dina-Ellie relationship, just in terms of where they are situationally and how they're kind of becoming like a CW teen drama. Addition of Gale, it just kind of seemed like she was just there to use as a story tool whenever she was needed. Adding in Eugene just to have it as a way for Ellie to finally understand that Joel was lying to her on that day. Having Ellie vandalize the museum by throwing a rock through the glass. Just a lot of odd changes that I don't think were necessary. Ellie getting captured by the Seraphites for 5 minutes in episode 7 seemed very unnecessary as well. So they made some changes there were more changes that I didn't like that I did. And just about all of them felt unnecessary, or they were there just to help explain something that happens later on. Most of them felt very unnecessary. The acting wasn't on the same level as season 1 as well. From season 1, Pedro and Bella both got nominated, and Pedro won a bunch of different awards for his performance. Bella got nominated, though I'm not sure if she won anything. In this season, her acting isn't anywhere near as good. I thought her acting in season 1 was pretty awesome. Here, she just is so all over the place in terms of one second she's determined, ready to kill someone, and then the next second she's simping over Dina, and then the next second she's having like so Ellie's character was really all over the place. Dina was pretty much the same from the games overall. They didn't really make any major changes to her. And Isabella, again, I don't think she had enough screen time. She really was amazing in episode 4, I thought. In episode 5 and 7, her acting just wasn't on the same level. If I had to give this season a final rating, I would give it a 7.5. And that's almost being kind of generous just because I don't think it deserves an 8. I almost thought, okay, I give it an 8. No, an 8 is just too much. Like if I was to rate last season, I would probably give it a 9.5, even a 10. There wasn't a whole lot I can complain about it. But here, there's just way more changes and things too that just don't work. And a 7.5, in my eyes, is almost still being generous. And it's a bummer that I don't want to give it that review, but I don't think this season deserves an 8 at all. Actually kind of a letdown considering it started off strong, but then it ended in a place where I don't even know how I feel about it still. I mean, the first season was why I started my YouTube channel in general, just because, all right, this genre is going to blow up really soon, and I wanted to start a channel on it. And here I am with the second season for the show that made me want to start doing this. And it really was overall pretty much disappointing. So now, as we go on and wait another 2 years or so for season 3, my big question is if they are already talking about there maybe being a season 4, are they going to really drag out season 3 to make there be a 4th season? Will season 3 not even include the showdown between Ellie and Abby with the gun? Because there's way more to them interacting than that. That is not their last moment for sure. So however Ellie gets out of it, we don't know. Unless they pull a Game of Thrones, but I don't think they would do that because Joel dies in the games. That's why he dies here, but Ellie doesn't. But will they stretch out the entire season 3, maybe 7 episodes, and then not till season 4 where Ellie and Abby finally have their kind of showdown? But even then, how would they stretch out season 4 for them to have their showdown near the end? Do we have to wait 2 seasons to finally see Ellie and Abby have their moment? If it's going to be like the games, it's a fight that kind of just goes on for a while and ends up in a certain area, but I don't know if they're going to do the same thing. Are they going to end the season are they going to end the whole show like game 2 ends? They're not 100% not saying there could be a Last of Us 3 game. There hasn't been any actual confirmation of that, but from what I hear, Neil could be floating the idea around, even though he's working on 2 other games right now, I believe. Will they make a 3rd game? Will it even matter? Because even if they announce the 3rd game now, it probably wouldn't even be out 2029. If they go by the same calendar time, then 2029 would be when the hypothetical season 4 would come out. There wouldn't be a Last of Us 3 game out by then, considering that I know what Naughty Dog is working on, the developer of the games. And I know that their next game is not going to be a Last of Us game. And they're working on something else from what I hear, and it's not Last of Us. So this kind of does make me slightly less excited for season 3. The question remains of how much of season 3 will be Abby. Will it be all Abby? Will it be 85%, 75% Abby, 25% Ellie? I'm slightly less excited, but I am looking forward to seeing more of Caitlin Dever because in the short time she was on screen, she was spectacular. I think Caitlin and Gabriel had 2 best performances of the season. I would have loved to see more from both of them, especially when the first or 2 episodes, almost amazed by how good Gabriel Luna was. Not that he was ever a bad actor, but I was like, hey, this is the moment where an actor is stepping up their game, and perhaps from here on in, they're going to get way more better roles. And then Caitlin, even as an actress, I don't know her career that much, but I know that she's been in some movies, and she was in a show that I watched about the Oxycontin. Her short time on screen in episode 1 and episode 2 and a little bit of 7 was spectacular. She was so good. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing her next season and looking to see if she can maintain this, new quality of act. This might be her kind of stepping up her game as well, like Gabriel. They're both. So at this moment, the only things I'm looking forward really in season 3 are the performances of Caitlin and Gabriel. I'm just hoping that they don't do to Tommy what they do in the games. The Last of Us season 2 is a 7.5. It's a disappointing 7.5, not a happy 7.5. So I don't want to really give it that kind of a rating. And now we'll wait till 2027 for season 3 to see exactly what happened with Abby. But until then, all my gamer friends, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Please leave a comment below on how you feel about this season. Once you do all of that, don't forget to keep thinking gaming.